Enabling one option can fix the CLS issue. Adding the background image using an image element will improve largest contentful paint metrics. You can reduce the page size by 30 to 40% by changing the page layout. Toggling one button on can help disappear these unwanted requests. Enabling one option can remove 90% of the unwanted code. Replace this file with an icon to speed up your website. I enabled a single button and the page speed insights score increased by 30 points. I added one icon to increase page speed by 60%. Doing this one setup can reduce time to first byte up to 90%. And you will learn plenty of speed optimization tips and tricks in the video. Stay tuned until the end of the video. Welcome to WPAmaze.com. I'm Vikas Sharma. I received a website audit request from a community member, and here are the things that he mentioned in his request. Hi Vikas, have seen you active with advice on the DV unfiltered DV speed group over the years. I'm struggling with load speed on this site. I use DV5 light speed cache, optimized images and deferred load on some advertising tracking pixels. I tried Flying Press but it made no difference. Any advices is welcome. I will talk about Flying Press at a later stage of the video. The first thing that I noticed is logo. Let me right click on the logo and click on inspect. Here we see the logo element and the logo is in WP format and the file size is around 8 KB. I prefer to upload the logo in SVG format and the file size would be less than 3 KB. When I optimize a website, I see how I can reduce the file size by every KB. One of the main issues is with the loading attributes. As we can see, the logo element has a lazy loading attribute. The elements that you see in the initial viewport shouldn't be lazy loaded, as they are considered critical elements. The image that we see here is considered the largest contentful paint because it is the largest element in the entire section. Largest contentful paint is one of the core web vital metrics, and these elements should never be lazy loaded. I will discuss this image in a moment. Next is this text element. I can hardly read this text. When I see such tiny text elements, I feel they are placed only for SEO purposes. And most likely this website was built a long time ago, as SEO keyword stuffing was a trend in the past. Next is this title and description. As you can see, it's hard to read for two reasons. There is a background image and the text is placed with no solid background color. If we look here, it appears the text and the section of the background image are the same color. If we can't read the text, there is no point in adding it. If I had built this website, I would have used a different layout. If you want to display text and an image in the hero section, then it's better to use a 2-column layout. Let me show you an example. This is a 2-column layout. You can place text on the left and an image on the right. Next, let's look at the background image. If we look at this image, it's added a background image. It's part of CSS and not HTML. When the image isn't part of the HTML, we can't preload it. When we load the page, this image might be loaded later, which will affect the largest contentful paint, one of the core web vitals metrics. If there is a problem with the largest contentful paint element, your website won't pass the core web vitals. Let me show you how to add a background image following best practices. Here we see a background image and a text element. The text says, "I can't be preloaded." Here we see the same exact background image and the text says, "I can be preloaded." Everything looks the same, including the text element, but the way they are built is different. Let me show you how to create this section. For this example, I am using Breakdance Builder, and you can create the same with the DV Builder as well. Here is the first section. For this section, I added a background image, and inside the container there is a text element. Here is the second section. that looks exactly the same, but it's built differently. And as we can see here, there is no background image. Inside the section, there is a container, and inside the container, I added a heading element. Here, I added an image element and added an image as we do with the image element. Here, as we can see, there is no background image because there is a proper image element. Here is what you need to do. Add an image element and choose an image. Set the image object fit to cover. Then set the image width to 100% and the same height as the hero section. Then set the image position to absolute and under Z index enter -1. So the image is at the back and the text element is at the front. Now both look exactly the same. Now let's go to the front end and check the code. Here, as we can see, everything looks the same. Let me right click on the image element and click on inspect. Here is the first example and here is the section. Here we are not seeing an image element because the image is set as a background image, which is part of the CSS code, not the HTML. Hence, this image can't be preloaded. This is the second example. Let me right click and click on inspect. Here is the section element, and as you can see, no background image has been added to this section, like in the first section. That's because I added an image element and placed the image as a regular image. Now, this image can be preloaded as it's part of the HTML code. You can also add alt text to this image. I hope you understand the difference between the two. When we scroll down, the sticky header appears. If we look closely, the sticky header has a semi-transparent background. I don't recommend using a semi-transparent or transparent background for this sticky header. As you can see here, both texts are unreadable due to the same transparent background. Next is the why choose Hardwick section. Here we see a few text blocks. The text inside these blocks is unreadable due to the text color and font size. Here there is another issue. As you can see, the 300 text weight is used, making the text very thin. I would recommend using a weight of 400 or 500 for such text. You can move this section to the About Us page. Another issue is the section dividers. These section dividers add no value to the website, but they will impact the website's performance, which I will discuss at a later stage. Next is the how we can help section. Again, there is the same issue as earlier. Text is unreadable due to the color and font size. If these are services, then they can move this section to the service page, or you can add a title and description. And below that, list the services as bullet points instead of adding blocks or text, since they consume a lot of space. Here we see two images. I don't know who they are or why they are placed here. If they are team members, then these images should be placed on our team page. Displaying the images without a name, role, etc. adds no value. And the sticky header, there is no need to display the social media icons and phone number as they increase the sticky header height. For a regular header, it's fine. Here is another section divider. Again, our location is repeated. These images have nothing to do with the location. If these are office images, then display them on the About page. Add the location text only to the contact page, not everywhere on the website. Next is our psychology team and support staff. Why do you want to place this content on the homepage? Add them to the team page. Removing unwanted elements from a page improves a website's performance and user experience. Here is another section, Counselor in Brisbane and Neuropsychologist Assessments. If these are services, then move them to the service page, and visitors can't read it due to the font size and color. Don't add unwanted text to stuff keywords. It does more harm than good. Here is another section divider. Next is the registrations and accreditations. You can reduce the logo size and make the text easier to read. Here is the blog section. Here is the Google Map. This is one of the worst things you can do for your website. Don't add Google Maps to the home page. If you have a contact page, add the Google Map only to that page or to the location page. Google services load many external scripts which will slow down your website. Here there is another Google Map and both maps show the same location. By removing unnecessary elements from the home page and changing the layout, you can reduce the home page's length by 30 to 40%, which improves the website's performance and user experience. When building a website, choosing a well-coded theme and plugins plays a huge role in the website's performance and user experience, which is something that you must keep in mind. I performed a GT matrix test and here are the results. Here the biggest issue is CLS. CLS stands for cumulative layout shift. The CLS score is 0.68, which must be less than 0.1. When we look at the images here, we can easily see what's causing the CLS issue. TTFB is around 658 milliseconds, and I prefer to keep the entire page load time under 500 milliseconds. In the second frame, we see the button twice, and in the third frame, it becomes a single button. In the fourth frame, we can clearly see that the header height is lower than in the previous frame. In the third frame, the hero section button changes its position. There are many layout shifts which are causing the major CLS issue. This could be happening for various reasons, such as missing an important portion of the critical CSS, no critical CSS being loaded, rendering blocking scripts, external requests or external fonts, no dimensions assigned to important elements such as images, slow server response time, etc. I discuss more about this in a moment. The fully loaded time is 6 seconds and I prefer to keep it under 500 milliseconds. Now let's look at the waterfall chart. Click on the HTML tab and the first file that we see is the HTML file. The HTML file size is around 51 KB. I prefer to keep it under 30 KB. Next, click the JS tab. Here we see plenty of JS requests. I filtered out the requests by tool wise and here are the results. The first request is from WordPress and we can ignore it. Now let's look at these JS requests. All of these JS requests are from the Divi theme. The first one is the pagination request. Go to the home page and scroll down. Here we see the blog archive section. Here we see old entries and this is the pagination link. It's really difficult to read the text as well. Instead of displaying the pagination link, you can add a text link or a button and link it to the blog archive page. There are two ways to reduce JS requests. The first one is not loading the asset and the second one is offloading the request using a plugin. Not loading the asset is a better option than offloading the asset. The next JavaScript request is the section dividers. As I mentioned earlier, to display these section dividers, we need to load the section dividers JS file. And these dividers add no value to the website design. The next JavaScript request is sliders. On the home page, there are no sliders, yet the slider.js file is still loaded. This is the main reason why you must use well-coded themes. If you ask me which theme is the best for building a website, I would say Breakdance Builder, Breakdance Builder, Blocksy Theme, GeneratePress and GenerateBlocks are the best options. Next, JavaScript request is easy pie chart. On the home page, there are no elements that require this JavaScript file, but still the easy pie chart JavaScript file is loaded. Next is the library menu. It is required for the menu to work properly. This is the only request that is required to load on the home page. The rest of the requests are nothing but unwanted JS requests. Next is the fit widths and another fit widths request. I think these requests are required when videos are embedded on a page. As we can see on the home page, there are no videos. Next is the common JS file, which we can ignore. Next is the library link, and another is the front-end scripts. I'm not sure why they are loaded. Next is the sticky elements. This request is loading because of the sticky header. You can create a sticky header with CSS. A JavaScript file is not required. No idea about this request. When optimizing a site built with the Divi theme, make sure to offload all the unnecessary JS requests except the menu. If you don't load the menu JS file, then the mobile menu won't work properly. Next is the contact form 7 plugin. 2 JavaScript files are loaded on the home page. On the home page, there is no contact form, yet requests are still being loaded. In the form plugins category, contact form 7 is one of the worst plugins to use. Let me open the contact page. This is the reason I don't recommend using the contact form 7 plugin. There is no form on the contact page. Let me open book an appointment page. And here is the form. The form is loaded only on this page, and the contact form 7 plugins requests must load only on this page, but the requests are being loaded across the entire site. If you ask me which contact form plugin is the best, then I would say WS Forms and Fluent Forms. Next is the Font Awesome library. When you add icons to your website, you must upload the custom font icons and use them. Don't use a font icon from the library, as that will load the entire library. As we can see, the Font Awesome library is 90 KB, which will slow down your website. One of the most notorious assets on the website is Google Fonts. If possible, use system fonts. If you really want to use Google Fonts, use fewer than 4 fonts. We see 6 font requests here. When using Google Fonts, load them and host them on your server. That way you can reduce the number of external requests and improve the website's performance. In a moment I will show you how to do it. After fixing the issues above, you might think the website optimization is done. But there is more to do. Now let me show you the unwanted code you are loading from the style sheets and how to remove it. Now click on the 3 dots, hover over More Tools and click Coverage. Here click Start Recording to reload the page. Here we see all the requests. From the drop-down menu we must select CSS. Removing unwanted JavaScript code from the JS requests is not easy. The first file is the HTML file and the unused code is around 84%. We can ignore the HTML file as it contains all types of code. Next is the critical inline CSS file. Critical inline CSS must contain only the critical CSS, but if we look here, 93% of the code in the critical inline CSS file is unused, which is pure bloat. This is another style sheet file that contains 90% of unused code. These 2 style sheets contain around 80% of the unused code. 100%, 70%, 100%. If you look at these 3 style sheets, the unused code is 100%. These 3 style sheets are loaded by the Contact Form 7 plugin. On the home page, there is no form, yet the style sheets are still loaded. In a moment, I will show you how to remove the unused code from the style sheets. Now let's look at the list of plugins that are installed and activated on this website. These are the plugins installed on the site. Conditional fields for Contact Form 7, Contact Form 7 plugin. Redirection for Contact Form 7 and Flamingo are used by the Contact Form 7 plugin. If you use a good Contact Form plugin, you will install just 1 plugin instead of 4 bloated plugins. Enable Media Replace. This plugin is used to replace media files without changing their file URLs. I will activate this plugin when I want to replace the media files, then deactivate it. Lightspeed Cache plugin is used for optimizing the website's performance. In a moment, I will show you a plugin that does a lot more than this plugin. Post type switcher. Post type switcher is used to switch a post's post type. I don't use this plugin. If you want to switch the post type, then create a new post or page. Even if you need this plugin, activate it only when required, then deactivate it. Rank Math SEO plugin offers a lot of features. However, if you really care about speed, then use a lightweight SEO plugin like Slim SEO. The Updraft Plus Backup Restore plugin is used to create site backups. Backup plugins can affect website's performance during the backup process. I host my site on rocket.net, which creates automated backups and stores them for 15 days, which is sufficient for me. If your hosting provider doesn't offer automated backups, then use a backup plugin. WP Vivid is a better backup plugin compared to Updraft Plus. WordFence security plugin is used for protecting the website from security threats. WordFence is notorious for slowing down the website's performance. My main sites are hosted on Rocket, so I don't use any security plugins. Rocket.net is a fantastic hosting provider. I use Rocket for hosting all my primary websites. You can try Rocket.net for $1 for the first 30 days, and you will find the link in the video description. There are other ways to protect the website from security threats. If you want to learn more about securing your website, then leave a comment below and I will create a video on this topic. However, the WP Speed Audit website is hosted on xCloud, and since they don't have strong built-in security features, I use StackPath Security, which is offered by xCloud. They charge $2 per month, which is reasonable. WP Meta and Data Remover plugin is used for removing the WP Meta. I don't use such plugins as they do very little and mostly have no impact on the website. If you want to optimize the database, you can use a speed optimization plugin, which I will cover in a moment. WP Table Builder is used for creating tables. Load this plugin only on pages where you want to display tables. WP Lite plugin is used for adding code to the website. Most recent themes allow you to add code snippets. If possible, add the code snippets to the theme. If that's not possible, you can use code snippet plugins and it won't impact the website's performance. Now let me show you a plugin that will help you fix most of these issues. You can try the plugin for free and pay for the premium version only if you are happy with the result. Open a new tab and enter wpamaze.com/flyingpress. Hit enter. This is my affiliate link. If you buy using it, I will get a small commission which helps me create more content like this. Now we are on the Flying Press website. Here click on Start Free Trial. Choose a plan based on the requirements. If you want to use a plugin on a single site, you can choose the starter plan. Then create an account and download the plugin. Once you download the plugin, install and activate the plugin. Our group member mentioned that I tried Flying Press but it didn't make a difference. Let me clarify an important point. Just installing a plugin won't make any difference. You must set up the plugin properly and I will show you how to set up the plugin. Let me click the Optimization tab. The first option is Minify CSS and JS. Enabling this option minifies the CSS and JS files. The next option is Remove Unused CSS. If we enable this option, the unused CSS that we saw earlier in the style sheets will be removed. Enabling this will resolve most of the CLS issues. The next option is Delay all JavaScript. Here we see three options. Defer loading. If this option is enabled, the JavaScript files will load with the defer attribute. Next is Load when idle. If this option is enabled, the JavaScript files will load when the page finishes loading. Next is Load on interaction. If this option is enabled, the JavaScript files will load when an interaction occurs, such as the page scroll, keyboard strokes, mobile screen taps, etc. I prefer to load when idle or load after interaction. When one of these options are enabled, the JavaScript files load after the page loads or on user interaction, which improves the user experience. If something breaks, you can edit exclusions to exclude the JavaScript files causing the issues. If you face any issues after enabling this option, you can post a query on the WP-Amaze community forum, and I will personally help you out. Alternatively, you can contact the Flying Press support team to get help. You will find all the links in the video description. Next is load third-party scripts on interaction. If you enable this option, all the third-party scripts will load on user interaction. Many think that delaying third-party scripts will cause issues. Let me clear an important point. When you delay third-party scripts, they load when a user interacts with the website, like scrolling, keyboard strokes, or mobile screen taps. Next option is delay specific scripts on interaction. When defer loading is selected, all the JavaScript files will load with the defer attribute, but they won't be delayed. You will load all the JavaScript files on initial page load. At times, this behavior might cause performance issues. To fix this, click Edit Includes. Then add the JavaScript file names manually to delay loading the files causing the performance issues. Self-host external CSS and JS files. When this option is enabled, external CSS and JS files from known CDN domains will be downloaded and hosted on your server. Some popular ones include Cloudflare, Google API, Bootstrap CDN, Font Awesome, etc. When you self-host external requests, the website will load faster because those requests will be eliminated. Next is the lazy load images, videos, and iframes. When this option is enabled, critical images such as the logo and hero image will be preloaded, and the rest of the images will be lazy loaded. The good thing is that when you enable this option, Flying Press will handle everything automatically with no manual intervention required. Next is properly size images. When you perform a test using PageSpeed Insights, most of the time you will see image elements do not have explicit width and height warning. And if the images don't have explicit width and height, then it might cause CLS issues. To fix that, we must enable this option. Next is lightweight YouTube previews. When this option is enabled, Flying Press will load YouTube video thumbnails on page load and load the video iframe when someone clicks a thumbnail. The best version of the YouTube thumbnail will be downloaded to your server and will be displayed until the user clicks the video thumbnail. Next option is self-host gravatar images. If you have blog posts on your website, then there might be plenty of comments. Next to a comment, you will see a person's profile image. These images are loaded from the Gravatar website, which is a third-party request. When this option is enabled, Flying Press will host the profile images on your server, which will improve the website performance and the user experience. Next is the fonts. Here the second option is self-host fonts. When this option is enabled, Flying Press will host the Google fonts on your server. Earlier in the GT Matrix report, I showed you 6 fonts loading from Google servers that were generating third-party requests. When this option is enabled, that problem will be solved. Next is preload fonts. At times when you load a page, a different font will appear and then another font will load. This is called flash of unstyled text, also known as FOUT. When the flash of unstyled occurs, the change of font style might cause CLS issues and result in a poor user experience. To fix that, we must preload the fonts. To preload the fonts, we must enable this option. Next is use system font first. On some websites, when we open a page, we might first see the page layout and design, and then the text appears. That is called flash of invisible text, also known as FOIT. To fix that, we must add a swap attribute. What this does is load the system font first, which helps display text faster. Once the custom font is loaded, it will swap the system font with the custom font. We discussed this in the preload fonts section. To add the swap attribute, we must enable this option. Next is lazy render elements. When this option is enabled, HTML elements below the initial viewport will not be rendered. As you scroll the page, the elements will be rendered. This will improve the website performance to a great extent, especially when the pages are lengthy as in this case. Let me show you an example. As I don't have access to this website, I am taking a portion of the Flying Press video clip, which I will be publishing soon. If you are interested in watching the detailed Flying Press video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications. This is a single blog post. Let me scroll down. Here, as we can see, there are 953 comments, which makes the page very lengthy. Now let me go back to the Flying Press dashboard, enable lazy render elements, and clear the cache. First, let me show you before results. The mobile score is 64 and the desktop score is 67. Now let me show you after results. The mobile score increased to 87 and the desktop score increased to 98. This is how powerful the lazy render elements feature is. Next is the caching tab. Here most options are pre-configured and work out of the box. Next is the CDN. Flying CDN supports multiple CDNs. The first option is Flying CDN. This costs $10 per month. Flying CDN offers edge page caching, which helps in pages loading faster, handle traffic spikes. If your website experiences a sudden surge in traffic, a CDN will help you handle it. Image compression. Flying CDN compresses the images on the fly without sacrificing quality. WebP conversion. Images in JPEG and PNG formats will be converted to WebP. 310 plus edge locations across 120 plus countries, which helps with faster page loading. Less than 50 milliseconds TTFB. I will show you this in real time in a moment. There are many more benefits such as DDoS protection, browser caching, WooCommerce optimization, cache for logged in users, cache hit ratio, etc. Alright, let me go back to the Flying Press dashboard. I will enable the CDN feature. And here we see three different CDN options. Custom URL. If you want to use another CDN other than Flying CDN or Cloudflare CDN, then we must select this option and enter the CDN URL. If we want to use Flying CDN, then we must select this option and enter the Flying CDN API key. I will cover Flying CDN in the Flying Press video. In this video, I will show you how to enable Cloudflare full page cache using a Cloudflare free account. If you want to use Cloudflare free CDN, then we must select this option and enter the Cloudflare zone ID, email ID, and global API key. Again, for this portion of the video, I am using a clip from the Flying Press video. To check the website TTFB, open a new tab, enter flyingttfb.com, hit enter. Now we are on the Flying TTFB website. Using this website, we can check the TTFB from 22 different global locations. Let me go back to the website, copy the URL, paste it here, and click test. Here you will see the status marked as dynamic because by default, Cloudflare doesn't cache pages. In this case, Cloudflare is only delivering static assets like CSS, JS, and images from the edge. And here are the results. In most of the locations, the TTFB is over 150 milliseconds. And in some locations, it's even crossing 300 milliseconds. Now let me go back to the Flying Press dashboard and enable CDN. Here I will choose Cloudflare. Now we must enter Cloudflare's zone ID. Let me open the Cloudflare dashboard. After logging into the Cloudflare dashboard, click the domain name. Now we are accessing the records of the particular domain name. Here scroll down and on the right side you will see the zone ID. Click here to copy the zone ID. Now we must go back to the Flying Press dashboard and paste the zone ID here. Next, we must enter the email address. Click the profile icon and click the profile tab. Here we will see the email address in two different places. Copy the email address from here and go back to the FlyingPress dashboard and paste the email address here. Next, we must enter the global API key. Go to the Cloudflare dashboard and here click the API tokens tab. Under the API keys section, you will see the global API key area. Here, click the view button. You must enter your Cloudflare password and click the view button. Here you will see the global API key. Copy the global API key and paste it here. The next step is to enable Cloudflare page caching. Toggle this button on and we are done. Now let me go back to the Flying TTFB website and perform the test again. And this time, as we can see, in most of the locations the TTFB is under 50 milliseconds. At times, after enabling Cloudflare CDN, the status might be marked as miss during the first test run. This happens because Cloudflare has started handling the requests, but the page cache has not yet been generated. When someone visits the website for the first time, only then Cloudflare will generate the page cache. In such a case, to see the page cache status, you need to run the test again. Here we see the cache status as hit, which means Cloudflare has cached the page and is serving it from its edge network. We have now successfully set up Cloudflare CDN using FlyingPress. Now let me show you something really interesting. In the FlyingPress video, I chose to optimize a WooCommerce website that was extremely bloated and slow to load. This was before starting the optimization. It took 32 seconds to load. After offloading the unwanted assets and optimizing the images, the speed dropped to 4.9 seconds. After installing FlyingPress and setting up everything, the speed dropped to 1.7 seconds. Still, something was holding back the page speed. Let me click the waterfall chart. Here, as we can see, one request is taking around 1 second, and that is the favicon. I see this issue on many websites. People will load the logo, but they won't upload the site icon, which some people call the favicon. To fix this, go to the WordPress dashboard, hover over settings and click General. Here you can upload the site icon. Click the Choose a Site Icon button and choose an image. This image dimension should be 512 by 512 pixels. Then click the Set as Site Icon button. Click the Save Changes button. Now let me perform another test. Now the fully page load time dropped to 0.6 seconds. I reduced this website page load time from 32 seconds to 0.6 seconds. And it was a WooCommerce website with plenty of plugins, external requests, and a lot of other resources loaded on the page. If your website is slow, I can help you find the issues. Visit wpspeedaudit.com. Click Audit. Fill in the form and I will perform a detailed audit and share the results with you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you found this video helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel and share the video with others.